Hi everyone, this is BrioBoy 2009. I am filming this on May 9th of 2025, and just today, in celebration of the 80th anniversary of the Railway series, the official Thomas & Friends YouTube channel published the original 1983 pilot to the show entitled Down the Mine. The pilot has not been seen since 1983, I believe, and I am going to be reacting to it. That's pretty much all there is to say. This is one of the most sought-after pieces of lost media, not just in the Thomas & Friends community, but in the lost media fandom overall. It has been confirmed that Mattel owned the rights and the pilot itself, and that it was hidden somewhere deep within their archives, and now it's finally up on the official YouTube channel for Thomas & Friends for us to watch, and I am now going to be reacting to it, so I hope that you enjoy my reaction to this pilot. Okay, so it looks like we start off with a little bit of an intro sequence showing how the pilot was made. It's pretty cool seeing all these, I like the little, oh yeah, I like the shadow effect they used to create, like, the effect of the Fat Controller coming up to Thomas, like, punish him, I assume. So a reconstruction of previous test. Told by Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr narrated some of the original episodes. He did. Alright, so right off the bat, I just want to go over this scene. First of all, I don't really know if this station is incomplete, and they never quite ended up finishing it, or if it's actually how it's supposed to go. Second of, I do like the little detail of the worker here kneeling down performing maintenance on Thomas. The engines overall just feel like they have weight to them and that they need maintenance performed on them, and I just really, really like these little details that they added to the scenes. Although the scene does feel a little bit cheap, it does have that certain charm that makes Thomas what it is.
One day, Thomas was at the junction when Gordon shuffled in with some trucks.
Alright, so second of, I really, really like the smoke units they put on the locomotives in particular. They look much more like steam than the final show ever could get them. Oh yeah, and I really like it for that. I really like them. I'm pretty sure if I showed this to my American Flyer locomotives, they would be jealous and they would probably be like angry at Clearwater Studios for doing this, for giving them better smoke than them, I mean. Sorry.
Phew, remarked Thomas. What a funny smell. Can you smell a smell? I can't smell a smell, said Annie. A funny, musty sort of smell, said Thomas. No one noticed it till you did, grunted Gordon. It must be yours. Annie? Clarabelle? Do you know what I think it is?
I do like how Thomas talks to Annie and Clarabelle more often.
It's ditch water.
I don't get the joke, but okay.
Before Gordon could answer, Thomas puffed away.
We'll see if there's, like, a better view of Gordon. I know in the episode there's, like, a better view of Gordon that we see him from, so I'll talk a little bit about his model and what I think of it, because I do have a lot of thoughts about the Gordon model that I want to discuss.
Annie and Clarabelle could hardly believe their ears.
Looking at you, Toy Trains for you.
That was funny. That was funny, he chuckled. He felt very pleased with himself.
First of all, oh yeah, the scene. Yep, we all know it. Second of, I do really like how they emphasize the 4 lyrics, the 4/4 bar of music, that they go, Wilbert Awdry envisioned the engines as if they were having a conversation. I.e., Gordon's like, I can't do it, I can't do it. Edward Bankingham's like, I will do it, I will do it. Like, Thomas, like, puffing down the line, remarking to himself, that was funny, that was funny, that was funny. That's how I envision it.
Annie and Clarabelle were deeply shocked. They had great respect for Gordon, the big engine.
And then here's the iconic shot of the original Thomas prop going past the station.
Thomas left the coaches at the station and went off to a mine for some trucks. Long ago, miners digging for lead had made tunnels under the ground. Though strong enough to hold up trucks, their roofs could not bear the weight of engines.
Why would the roofs need to bear the weights of engines? You're probably saying that the roofs were too narrow for them to pass under. And also, I just noticed with Thomas's wheels, I do like how they have silver-plated hubs. That does make them look a little bit more akin to the Railway series illustrations. That, combined with the thick driving rods and wheel outlines, I really, really, really like that look for the characters, and I really wish that they had kept it. It's kind of sad how they got rid of it at the expense of making the show more realistic than it already was.
Silly old board, he thought. He had often tried to pass it and he had never succeeded. But this morning he had made a plan. He had to push the empty trucks into one siding and pull out full ones from another. "Come on," waved the fireman. The driver leaned out of the cab to see where they were going. "Now," said Thomas to himself.
Dong. That whistle sounds too Australian, I just gotta say. Sounds like something from the Gembrook Line, the Puffing Billy Railway, any of that. Definitely not like Thomas, but I'll give him credit. It is a dual chime, and that might be a reference to the fact that Thomas has two whistles. I do like the sound of the whistle, but I don't really think it fits for Thomas.
"Hurrah," laughed Thomas, and he followed the trucks into the siding. "Stupid old board," said Thomas. "There's no danger, there's no danger." "Look out," shouted his driver. "Come back." "Fire and smoke," said Thomas.
I really, really like the smoke effects that they put in there. I don't know if that's supposed to be like dust coming out of the hole or clearing, or if that's just Thomas's steam. But whatever it is, I really like.
Sunk, and he was.
Actually, I think it's steam. Now that I look at it,
Thomas could just see out of the hole, but he couldn't move. "Oh dear," he said. "I am a silly engine."
Again, I really like how they ingeniously put up the Fat Controller's shadow coming up to him. Although I am American, so I probably should be calling him Sir Topham Hatt.
"And a very naughty one, too." "I saw you," said the Fat Controller. "Please get me out. I won't be naughty again."
I do like how the props look. I will admit I like the ones in the final show better. These do look like they were made out of, like, paper mache and cardboard and all that. I ultimately like the ones that appeared in the finished show better. These ones just kind of look like cheaply made. I feel like they would creep kids out, but still. This is a test pilot, and they were trying. They were trying their best, so I can't blame the crew. They do have their charm. They look like something that would be from the 1950s. If this was made in the 1950s, I would forgive them, but still.
"I'm not sure," replied the Fat Controller. "We can't lift you out with the crane. The ground's not firm enough." Let me see. I wonder if Gordon could pull you out." "Yes, sir," said Thomas nervously, but he didn't really want to meet Gordon just yet. "Down a mine, is he? Ho, ho, ho," laughed Gordon. "What a
I can
jokey
easily
chortle,
see,
puffing
particularly with Gordon's prop, I do really like how his wheels are sized, the silver hubs, the thick connecting rods, and the sloped front running board. It's even more sloped than it is in the final show. You can tell they really, really, really tried to make the models look like the books. They really tried to replicate the style of particularly C. Reginald Dalby's illustrations, I think. And I just really I legitimately love how these props look. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, I really wish that the style could have carried on over to the final show. Like, if they ever make that Thomas and Friends movie that they announced that they were going to make, I would like the characters to look like the book counterparts, if that's possible.
"Poof, poof, little Thomas. We'll have you out in a couple of puffs." Strong cables were fastened between the two engines. "Are you ready?" Heave, called the fat controller. It was a lot harder than they all thought.
Okay, I just noticed, how come there's steam coming out of Thomas's smokestack? How come there's steam coming out of Thomas's funnel? When he very clearly is being tugged out of the hole by Gordon. Unless Thomas himself was also making a little bit more effort to get himself out. In which case I would understand why there would be steam coming out. But still, otherwise, it's pretty weird. I also don't like how bright, in particular, Thomas's stripes are. And also how thick his number 1 is. I think I liked that better in the final prop, but the wheels and the running board and that, oh yeah, this is... They made that justice there. I do really like these props better than the ones in the final show, if I'm being completely honest with you guys.
But at last he was free. I'm sorry I was cheeky, said Thomas. That's all right, Thomas, you made me laugh. I'm in disgrace, Gordon went on pathetically.
Side note, I've always loved the vocabulary they've used in these stories. Like, it's very... Wilbert knew that kids were smarter than people gave them credit for, and I love, like, the word choices they use. You can tell this was adapted from something written in the 1940s, and I just love that.
I feel very low. I'm in disgrace too, said Thomas. Why, so you are, Thomas. We're both in disgrace. Shall we form an alliance?
I don't really know if this was in the final show, but I do like how Thomas and Gordon have, like, steam hazes from their funnels while they're idling. I don't know if they ever had those in the final show. From what I remember, they never did, but here they did, and I think that's a really good touch. That's a really nice touch on their part. Makes them look a little bit more like the real thing, doesn't it? Also, I do wonder why Thomas has a hose brake, whatever they're called, and Gordon doesn't. Gordon is an express engine, but Thomas is just a branch line engine. Does that mean that branch line engines are treated better than mainline engines on this railway?
And Ali, what was it? Asked Thomas.
Dinghy fried.
An alliance, Thomas. United we stand, together we fall, said Gordon grandly. Right you are, said Thomas. Good, that's settled, mumbled Gordon. And buffer to buffer, the allies puffed home.
Alright then, and that's the original pilot for Thomas and Friends. I've gotta say, it was really solid. I love how true it is, how true the models are to the style of the books. And I overall want to ultimately congratulate the entirety of the Thomas and Friends franchise on 80 successful years, and thank you once more for making my childhood and the childhood of many of you watching this video, and for making us the people we are today. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you. With all our joy and love. And to think these stories were originally created by a father to amuse his son. Boy, the wonders that can pop up when somebody's not down and you just try to amuse them. I think that's something we can all take away. We can all take from Thomas. It's something we can all learn from the show. And then they have the classic credits there. Oh yeah, I like how the editor was actually named Thomas. Oh, and look, the score was actually arranged by Mike O'Donnell. And he based the score directly on the themes from the glory days of Thomas and Friends, but in the style of the Andrew Brenner era. Because of course he did. I overall really like it. Produced, of course, by Ian McHugh. And of course, it's dedicated to the loving memory of the lady who brought this to life, no pun intended, Britt Allcroft. May she rest in peace, may she fly high with the Reverend Wilbert Awdry, and with Casey Jones. and with all railroaders, with all people that have to do with railroads. And I believe on that note, it is time for this video to come to a conclusion. Overall, a really solid pilot, and I very much thank the official Thomas & Friends channel for doing this for the fans. So yeah, I'll see you all down that wooden line on Brio Boy 2009. And as always, keep your friends close and your trains closer. And here's to 80 years more.